niko na experience na Brighter Monday. Hey, yani I remember there was a time I used to sit down every Monday mimi na laptop yangu kwa kabed sita kangu. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the love that you guys have shown me. Wow. I'm really grateful to God. And my name is Brenda. In this channel, you will learn about God. We will talk about motherhood. We are going also to talk about fun, friendship, and love. How has it been for me and everything about it? Are you ready for it? Yeah. So this year, we are my target is to give you content after content, which I'm working on it. But today it's testimony time. I want to take you through my employment journey, or something like job journey. Where did I start to where I am right now? How was the hustle and all that? Today I'm gonna take you all through that. And so I finished campus in 2016 April. And now, when I was finishing campus, my campus had united with KCB Bank at that moment to give us opportunities for internship. So that was one of the good things that happened to me when I just finished campus. So I got chose out of the students, and I was able to do the interview. And just immediately after I finished campus, immediately I went and started working with KCB for internship. So I did my internship for 3 months. That was from April to around July, and it was such an amazing moment to work in that industry. It was such a friendly environment. I was shown all love, and it was so beautiful to be there. Actually, when I remembered when I finished, oh my God, they did me a party. Hey, and it was such a surprising moment, actually even a tearing moment, and I'm really grateful to those people. I really had a good time in that. One of the things by them in Ambianga too, one thing when you're praying for a job, actually pray for a friendly environment. There is nothing bad than being in a very toxic job. It is not always a good place. Hata inakuaffect mentally, it affects you even health wise, and it's not good. That shouldn't be our portion. That's why even if you're going into this point of trusting God for a job, because this testimony that I'm going to give to you, it's for those people who are trusting God for job this year, and those who are entering wamemaliza to campus and they're trusting God for job this year, and they're entering into this place. So one of the thing I can tell you, when you're praying for God to give you a job, please pray for a friendly environment, because you need to be mentally okay. You need to be health-wise ukwepo, because when your mental is affected, everything is affected. Actually, that is one thing I have learned in this life that I've lived, actually. Yeah, so I really had a good time. Then after that was in 2016 actually. After that, I never had anything to do. That was the point I went for driving school. As I waited to graduate, I graduated in December, actually 2016. And now after that, it was now hustling, now getting into a place of looking for a work, because my internship was over. I already had my experience, and I was now entering into it. So of course, in 2017, I was like, before I start looking for a job, let me start my CPAs. That is when I started my CPA, actually. And now when I was doing all that, I was looking for work, telling people, sending people my CVs, my documents, to see where I can get, even to the moment of applying for it through online. Kuna kitu inaitwa Brighter Monday, where niko na experience na Brighter Monday. Yani I remember there was a time I used to sit down every Monday mimi na laptop yangu kwa kabed sita kangu na apply job opportunity. Ninaweza shinda hapo kuanzia asubuhi mpaka jioni. Need But imagine after that, all I could get is regret or no answers. But I never gave up, actually. But the one thing with looking for a job, do not give up. Kama kuna kitu by then naweza encourage mtu, usi give up, useme I don't think this is my portion, na uende ufanye. Of course unaweza anzisha biashara if you are capable, as you continue applying, as you continue waiting for it. Yeah, so I remember it was in 2017. One of my friend akaniambia, by the way, there's a place they do sales every year, and they always look for casual people to go and work, and you can get a good, it's a good money and a good experience for you to fill in your CV. So for me, I actually mi sikuchoose kazi at that point. And another thing also, mi sikuwa na jali eti naenda only to work for 1 month ama 2 months. Of course your time I was just looking at the experience. By the way, one of the things that even job place planning Tawambia, I went and they told me one of the things that really attracted you to us was the fact that you really had good experience, even though it was kidogo months, but you learned something. Because I think I've worked in all industries by now. Actually, I have worked in hospitality, I have worked in of course hospitality is both hotel and hospital. I've worked in bank. I've worked and now the place I am working right now, actually. So it's such a good experience. Actually, that's one thing I can encourage you: never give up, and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray. So my friend told me there's an opportunity and it's only for like a month. Mtakuwa trained, then the next month you enter into sales, then after that inaisha hivyo. But I was like, it's okay, let me just apply. So I sent my documents, and let me tell you guys, within 1 week they got back to me. They invited me for the interview. They were having 2 interviews. I went for the first interview. It was such ABCD questions. See hata unakuwa interviewed na mtu, ilikuwa ABCD questions. They just tested how well do I know things and things like that. I passed that one. They told me they'll call me for the second interview. I went for the second interview, and after that they told me you can start working. It was such a good experience. That was like it was like ya ku deal with clients. Actually, you deal with clients, and it's on sales, not actually sales, but I dealt with clients taking their payment and things like that. And I really enjoyed my experience, and it was such a wonderful time, and I got my income, and I really thank God for such an opportunity. Now after that there was a lot again of waiting for another job place. So of course mi sikuwahi kaa chini. By the way, every Monday I will tell you, mi ningekaa chini ni apply kwanzia asubuhi hadi jioni kwa Brighter Monday, na siku give up hata kama napata regret, hata kama napata no answer. I used to continue applying. And then on Fridays I was with one of my friends to Somane campus, anaitwa Josie. What we used to do, we will identify places we can go and drop our documents. Tulikuwa hata na place cyber tao, walikuwa wametujua, because every Friday tungeenda huko, tunge print CVs, to print copies, to print our certificates, nini tuziweke kwa bahasha, tuandike mali tunafaa kupeleka. So tulikuwa tumeamua kama ni hii wiki tunaenda hii side ya Itao, ile wiki ingine mi kutama. Let me tell you, I did that, and I'm super proud of myself, because mi si ule nilikana nikasema that ati mtu atanitafutia job, mi nikae tu ningoje nitafutiwe job. Hata mimi nilitafuta mwenyewe. Of course I used to give documents to people, but also I went all through to do all those things, by the way, and that was one of the experience. So I used to go to drop people na my friend every Friday, and then every Monday na kaa hivyo. Then now that I never had work, what I used to do that time, I was in a cabin sitter. So what I used to do, mimi wakati yenye watu walikuwa nalala, I used to watch that nisifeel hiyo. Of course kuna kale tu ka feeling, watu wanaenda kazi, wewe tu ujui mahali pa kwenda, wewe unashinda kulala, you see things like that. So watu wakilala, mimi nilikuwa na watch. So the moment watu wanaanza kwenda job, usingizi mimi imenishika, hata siwezi sikia mamlango zikifunguliwa or something like that. Then now in the evening I used to go, even I remember the place that I used to live at that moment, there was a stone. I used to go and sit down there. I used to talk to God. I used to tell God how I'm trusting him for a job. Here Hey, let me tell you, I used to do that. Ningetembea nikiomba, nikisikia, just to encourage myself and all that. Of course, it took long before I identified another job, because now after that I remembered there was a time even I had to go back home because I couldn't find anything to do in Nairobi, because I had no job, na hapo rent na kungojea, vitu kama hizo zinakungojea. But I never stayed at home so much. I came back, and the friend that actually mentioned me to the other people that I worked with for that 2 months. Actually, it's called, allow me just to use the letters, Company T, advised me also to go to another company. I can recommend to another company. So when I went there, I thought I was going for an interview, but nikafika huko nikaambiwa, you're going to replace someone who has gone for maternity, and once she come back, we will have to release you, but for the time being, you just work in a place. And I was able to work in a hotel. Actually, yeah, it's a kind of hotel. And yeah, kind of hotel. I was able to work there. I worked as a procurement officer, which I never learned about procurement. Actually, I studied finance in my campus, but now that was now the opportunity which was available, and I was like, why not, let me go for it. So of course I learned a lot about procurement, because I was the one who was ordering the staff, paying them, kulimit on how they are going to use their, unaona hizo vitu kama kuku, all those things. It was me actually planning on how they are going to use, because at the end of it all, I was liable to give how much budget have I used, is it according to the budget that is supposed to be. It was not an easy thing, but I love learning new things actually. So I did there for I started in August 2017. So I did there in August 2017, September, October, November, December. Yeah, actually I did like 5 months actually. The lady the lady who was working in a place actually came back in December. So at least I got a good experience. And now in January, now the boss of that place told me there are other opportunities. She shouldn't angeniachilia. So I continue working there, because ana plan kufungua other branches so that I can go and work there. But of course kuna hizo, you see, of course, in just job places, kuna kwanga tu na hizo politics which you don't know where they come from. Unfortunately, in January, I lost that job because they kept saying that we were many and they needed to release me. I really felt bad, because I wanted to work there for some time, but now my time had come. Of course, nilifeel vibaya, but now I just went out. So that was in 2018. So in 2018, now what did I do actually? Now in 2018, that was the time that I really stayed a long time without work. But now my aunt, I can recommend to what is it called? This firm, audit firm actually. Wow, but kazi ya audit, oh my goodness. Hey, that work is too much. So I tried going there. I went for like a week, but kusema tu kweli mimi nilikuwa nimechoka akili, because there's a lot to be done in audit firms. And then whatever I was receiving in that audit firm was a half of what I was receiving in the hotel. So I remember even when I was in that audit firm, the manager of the hotel that I was working in gave me a call and told me, now that I've opened another branch and I don't want to look for another person, why don't you come back and work for me? And nikaangalia tu, of course, manzi, mimi nikaangalia audit firm, nikaona kazi yenye nafanya yote na the payment that I'm getting, and the other one how I was getting, because I had an opportunity. Of course, kama singekuwa by then na hiyo opportunity ya hotel, mi bado ningeendelea tu kuvumilia, because it was all about experience actually. So I went back to the hotel, but now to another branch. Hey, but now reaching that branch, oh my God, it was so toxic. I can't even lie to you. It was really, really, really toxic that it finished me mentally. Kuna time, okay, I'm this person, when I go into a work, napeanga kazi yangu na roho yangu yote. So of course, sometimes it was so toxic, but I will just, ningevumilia actually. I will get to that work from around, I think, 7 ningekuwa huko. And then I will work even past I think 10. Other sometimes the manager will come and tell me, Brenda, bado hujaenda home. But when I think I have not finished whatever I'm supposed to do, and then I was left in a place like, unaona mtu mwenye alikuwa huko alipewa suspension. Sasa wewe unaenda unachukua kila kitu yenye alikuwa ameacha, ujui mali unaanzia au ujui mali unamalizia. It is just a place you have to figure out everything. So I remember it took me like almost a month to figure out what am I supposed to do here, how am I supposed to do it. Actually, when I remember the first month when they did a performance I had gone over budget. If they were supposed to pay 50k per month or whatever the amount is, mimi nilikuwa nishafika 100k. I was even told to write a letter to apologize for going over budget. I remember even that day I called my mom and I was like, Mom, is it a must I do this work? For I feel I put a lot of my effort, but they don't even recognize it. Why am I here even in the first place? So my mom akaniambia, to you just write the letter and see how it goes. So of course I wrote the letter, I apologized, and the next month I even went under budget. Hey, I don't know even how I did it, but nilikuwa nikifikia uchunga yenye niliandika hiyo barua, nilienda under budget. But now the place continued being so toxic to me. Even a lot of politics came, and for sure me, I just resigned. I couldn't anymore because I chose my mental health over that work. And actually when I left, I never even finished 2 weeks. Immediately after 2 weeks, the company that I had gone ile ya sales, see, every year wako na sales, actually they also again called me again, and that's how I went. This time they were taking for three months. Hapo sasa tena nikaenda nikafanya hiyo sales. That was in 2018. I did it until July. Of course, it was such a good experience. I enjoyed working there. It was such a friendly environment. Actually, my experience with Wahindi, I hear people talking so much about Wahindi, but for me, my experience with Wahindi was the best. Actually, I feel it was one of the places that I really had a lot of peace, and I enjoyed working there, and it was so awesome working there, actually. So that's when I worked there until July. Then now from July, the tarmacking again started. So at that moment now is when I told you I used to walk, I used to pray about the job I want to work and all that. Even I remember that company had an opportunity, the company that I worked at until July, they had an opportunity in Mombasa. Even they called me and they asked me if I'm okay to go to Mombasa. But you see, at that time I was not choosing places I'm going to work. Of course, I love staying in Nairobi, but I was like, now what do I have to do? I just have to go because I need this work. Yeah, so now they told me they are going to look for it, but unfortunately it was not my portion, so I was never called about it. So I just stayed until now in November. I think it was the end of November 2018. They also had a sales in the other branch, and also they called me again. So I decided, now what should I do? Let me just go for it. And I remember actually before that, I'd taken my documents to a hospital. I'd taken my documents there, and I just trusted God, and I told God, if this is where you want me to work, I'm just going to give my documents. When I went and gave my documents, by the way, they never allowed me to go to HR office. I was told to give it to a courier. What I don't know is how that document will get to HR. Unajua ni ile tu unaomba na unaambia God, me have done my part. Umeona nimeapply, nimeandika hizi documents zote, nimepeleka, so wewe fanya part yako. Me, I left there. So I remember that day when we took my documents, we were me and my friend Josie, who used to go and drop documents everywhere. Then I remember a week after, my another friend also went and dropped there. My friend akaenda akadrop huko. So after 1 week, when I got now the call of sales in company T, at the same time Joy, who dropped the documents baada ya sisi, was called for an interview in that hospital. And for sure I knew I just lost that position. Hadi nikajiambia, let me just go for this sales, at least itani push, and then now after that, December holiday inaanza, I will just go home, celebrate it with my family, stay at home and wait for God for the next year. Yeah, so I remember now I was ready to go Monday to now company T. That is the moment. On Saturday I was hanging out with my friend. I will never forget. I was hanging out with my friend in Uru Gardens when Uru Gardens had not been renovated. While I was there, I got a call from now that hospital, and they told me they have temporary position. There are people who want to go for their leave in December, and if I love, I will come and I go and do the interview, and if I succeed, they will take me in, but it's only for 2 months. It was supposed only to be December and January. I was okay, I'm coming. Then they told me the interview is on Tuesday, and remember, I am also supposed to go to company T on Monday, and again I've been called for an interview on Tuesday. Hey, now I asked God, now what am I supposed to do? Anyway, on Monday, I reported to company T. I went and we went for orientation. We did well. On Tuesday, I really had to look for an excuse. Hey, may God forgive me for what excuse I looked at that time. Yeah, but anyway, I was able to look for that excuse, and I went for an interview. And then now they told me you will come for the second interview. So wakiniambia hivyo, mimi tena nikarudi kwa company T. So on Wednesday I went and worked there. On Thursday I worked. On Thursday in the evening, hospital called me and they told me to come for the next interview on Friday. So since it's a hospital, you have to do ISOMA test to ensure that you are okay and fit for the job actually. So on Friday I went for those for the second interview, which was medical examination. And I remember when I was in that medical examination, the one who was doing for me those tests was telling me, kama umefika hapa, jua tu kazi ni yako, hata usifikiria otherwise, that is it. So I remember when I went for, ilikuwa imefika point ya kuangaliwa now, you know they do all medical examination hadi macho. Hey, that time my specs failed me. I couldn't see. My specs, I think ilikuwa imeisha lenses, so singeona mbali. So they told me, hii part ya nini ya macho, we are not going to write anything because you need to go and get another specs so that I can be able to say you are fit for that job. So I remember that day nilikuwa nimepeana excuse ya half a day, na huko ananiambia niende story ya macho. So you see it's like a full day. And now I went, nikaenda nikashughulika. Then now the HR called me, company T, akaniambia, Brenda, why are you not at work? And then nikamwambia an emergency came, hata sina specs. I'm supposed to specs yangu imenifail, of course blah blah blah. So at the end of it all, nilienda nikafika huko, but nilifika late. But of course the manager of that place was very furious with me. But also I'd worked with this company like twice, so the main branch knew my work. But now this new manager, of course, akaanza kusema huyu msana haonekani job. This is the second time, but anyway, mi tulikuwa nafanya tu nikisema to God, whatever you have for me, let it come to pass. So akaniambia the hospital told me they'll get back to me. Mi nikaendelea kuchapa job huko. So si sales ilikuwa inaanza on Sunday. So on Saturday mi nikachapa job kwa sales kwa company T. On Sunday, that's the time now I started working with on Sunday sasa sales ikaanza. On Monday I got a call from the hospital. They told me you have qualified for the job, please come and report it on Tuesday. And that's when I knew, I think I have got enough experience with this company T, because that is the third time I'm working for them. Let me go to a new place. So I had to resign. And I resigned. Of course, I was not paid anything because unafaa kupeana notice, which I had not given. So I just moved from there, and now I went to the hospital. And now that's where my journey started, working in that hospital. And it was so beautiful. I worked there for 3 years actually. And I used to work in contract, 3 months, kuna ingine ikapelekwa 6 months. But my experience with that hospital was amazing. I got to learn a lot of things. I got to experience a lot of things. I enjoyed working there actually. I gave my best, but now it reached a point I was trusting God for a permanent job. This place, I knew they had a capability of employing me permanent, but they used to give me just contracts after contracts after contracts. So of course, inafika tu mahali unachoka. You start asking yourself question, why am I not the lucky one? Why am I not getting a permanent job? And that's now the time I started being tired with working. Hata nilikuwa tunaenda job just for the name of job, not even doing for anything. And then now I remembered it was in the year 2020. Now it's 3 years. I started in 2018, then left it in 2021. So I remember during 2020 is when now I started getting tired with work actually. And then now and it was that moment of COVID. Of course, because I'm working in a hospital, hakuna venye tungefunga, because that was now the time that the demand was very high. So we used to take shifts and then come to work, things like that. I used to work even sometimes hadi saa 4 usiku. It was not a conducive. Even I was like telling God, I don't want to bring up my family in such a place. I'm just trusting you, God, for a job that I can be able to work from Monday to Friday, and the weekend I have it all for myself and for my family and for my friends and things like that. That was my prayer actually to God, because that place I used to work even Saturdays, Sundays. It's a hospital, we don't close, so it's you have to work all that time. So I remember in 2021, when I was tired with work, I remember another day I was going for prayer, for Wednesday prayer. Then I met a friend who I'm really, not even I met, like we're hanging out with a friend who I'm really grateful to him actually, because he made me have another attitude in working actually. So I was telling him how I was so tired with this place. They're not confirming us. Nothing is happening. Yes, I'm grateful to God I have somewhere to go every morning and every evening, but they are not confirming me, and I've worked there almost now 3 years. So he told me, let me tell you one thing, Brenda. When God gives you a place to work, meaning that God has sent you there to do a certain purpose that He has called you to do. Until that purpose is fulfilled, that is the time that God will take you from that workplace to another. Before then, He will not take you out of that until you finish the purpose that He has called you there. And then he told me, know that when you're going to work in that hospital, you're not working for that hospital actually. You're serving God in that place. You're not serving human beings. Na kama unadhania, and if you think like you're working for human beings, you'll always be disappointed. You'll always get tired because they are not appreciating your effort. They're not doing all that. But the moment you know that you're working actually for God, that is the moment you will change your perspective over everything. You will be happy. You love, enjoy working there, even though they don't appreciate you. God will see the work you are doing and everything about that. So he told me, change your narrative and start thanking God that at least even you have a place to call job, because people here out are looking for work and they don't have. Na wewe hapa unaanza kuchoka na place yenye Mungu amekupea. So I remember after that I went for that Wednesday prayer and I started repenting. I told God, I'm really sorry that I've been taking this job for granted, and I pray from today onwards, change my perspective. Let me serve you. Let me not serve this hospital, so that whenever they don't appreciate my effort, I will not see that, but I will know that you see my work. You will bless my work and all that. And let me tell you guys, that was I from that time when I went back to work, my narrative actually changed. I loved my job. I felt so good going to that work. I served. I really served with all my heart. I remember my last month in that workplace, I gave my best. I served to my best, and even I never got tired. Actually, I used to go to work from 7 to almost 4, but sikuwa nachoka. Sikuwa na feel eti nimeboeka or things like that. And let me tell you, see, actually, before that friend talked to me and gave me that perspective, I used to apply for work. And when I used to apply for other work, I used to get rejection after rejection after rejection. But after now, I changed my perspective and I started serving God within my workplace and knew that I'm serving God and I'm not serving the hospital. And now my narrative changed actually from that time. That is when now doors started opening. I applied a certain job in February and I got a reply in June. I remember one morning I woke up and I was shortlisted actually for the interview. I remembered in July I sat for that interview, and now the doors started just opening up after opening. And then I remember this job that I was working actually in the hospital. In September, that's when a door opened and they decided to confirm us. Finally, I was going to a probation and then now going into a permanent job. And I remember it happened in 14th September 2021. I will never forget actually about it. So I remember when I went, in that time I was happy. I'm going to be permanent. I'm going to get all the benefits that permanent people get. And I was happy actually about that. But what I never knew, that God was not done with me in that year actually. And actually, it was the same year I participated in 28 days of prayer and fasting. And one of the item I fasted about was about my job. I wanted for me to be stable about my job, actually. And now that's when it happened, 14 September. And immediately 1 month exactly, the job that I'd sat for an interview in July now confirmed me, actually, in that 14th now October 2021. And that's how my dream job came to pass. In November, I finished working with the hospital and now joined. In the same November, actually, I joined now the place that I'm working till right now, and that's my journey of employment to where I am right now. I'm really grateful because this where I am right now is where I prayed to God. It was my dream job. I prayed. I trusted God, and I'm now reaping. Oh, yeah, like you see, wanasemanga, the wait is always worth it. When I see all these places that God took me, He was preparing me for what I have today. He was training me to be patient. He was training me to persevere. He was training me, like alikuwa anani equip all those things that I need right now in the workplace that I am right now. And I know God's time is beautiful. I was trusting God for a permanent job since 2018, but God made it come to pass in 2023 actually. And that's where now I was confirmed to be permanent and where I am working right now. And I can tell you, if you're trusting God for a job, let me tell you, the only connection you need is God. I know we are in a country, unaambia utumie shortcut and all that. But let me tell you, if you use that shortcut, and if it's not God time, haitakuja, let me tell you. But if it's God time, God is the only connection you need by there for that job. If it's God time, all odds are going to be swept off and it will be God's time, not a part of your job. So let me tell you, just wait on God. Keep trusting Him. Keep doing your part. Right now, you are in that season of waiting. Enjoy that season of waiting. Do the things that you can't do while you are working. Learn the small things that you can learn right now. Let God equip you with those characters that are need to equip before that time comes. And I tell you, when that time comes, you will see the wait was worth it. When I tell people, most of the people about my testimony about job, wanaonanga like that is how God works. Like anakuequip, anakufunza hiyo kuwait and all that. And now when you get always, every time, I'm always actually grateful for my job up to today. Every time I see my job, I'm like, God, the wait was worth it. You knew what you are doing. And for real, God's time is the best actually. So for those who are trusting God for job this year, it is my prayer that God will bring you that job that you have been waiting for. But as you wait, keep worshiping Him, keep glorifying Him, keep sending those CV, keep dropping those documents, keep asking people and gaining connections, because you're doing your part. And when you do your part, now let God do the rest. And when the time is right, He will make it beautiful in His own time. So that has been my testimony of job, and I am really grateful. And I know even for you, you're going to testify of what God has done for you and given you the job of your heart desire. See you in the next video. Bye.